Kaminsky drops 20 points and 11 rebounds. Sam Dekker was remarkable in this game, especially at the end, offensively, defensively. He gets 16 points. This is a Badger team that only averages 7 turnovers lost per game. They lost 10 and still won. And one of the main reasons why, they were incredible on the boards, winning the rebounding battle by 12, 34-22. Out to Indianapolis we go now. We sent a crew out there to cover the game. They join us now with their thoughts. Fellas?
So for the first time since 1941, the Wisconsin Badgers will play for a national championship here in Indianapolis Monday night. Dave Revson, Stephen Bardo, Jim Jackson. Guys, I think we all believe that this was eminently possible. Obviously, Kentucky was the giant. Wisconsin slayed them. How did they do it?
You know, it was interesting, guys. Wisconsin was down 4 points, and it looked like Kentucky might gap them and run away with this thing, but they locked down defensively. They got some stops, and Sam Dekker was huge. Stepped up with a big layup and seemed to get them going offensively.
But also making big plays defensively when it counted. 2 or 3 possessions where Kentucky got an offensive rebound, had a chance to score, to open it up a little bit more. Shot clock violation. Couldn't take advantage of it. Wisconsin at the end of the game able to make certain plays, get to the free throw line, make the baskets when needed. What's the difference that kind of separated the Kentucky loss compared to the Wisconsin win and just taking care of the business down the stretch?
We've talked so much about how good this Kentucky defense is, and Wisconsin made them look very ordinary and better than 1.2 points per possession. They shot about 48% in this game. Kentucky was giving up 35% on the year. What did you see from Wisconsin offensively? Why were they able to run as fluidly as they have been all season?
Well, you know, Dave, when you look at at Wisconsin, guys, 17 years, this is the most offensively efficient team that we've seen in college basketball. So it wasn't going to stop just because Kentucky is in the building. Wisconsin was going to be able to score. You know, there was one key point where it didn't come from a three, it didn't come from dribble penetration. Trayvon Jackson drew a foul, got to the free throw line, stopped a 5-minute drought, and that got Wisconsin going. So they manufactured ways to score.
And Steve, speaking from an offensive perspective, this team understands who they are. They're not going to make mistakes. Rarely do they take quick shots. They don't turn the basketball over. They're very confident that they can get a shot at the beginning of the shot clock, in the middle, or feel really great about getting a high percentage shot at the end of the shot clock. And they never panic, and they don't settle. So they force Kentucky to be a little bit more patient defensively than they were accustomed to.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, you could talk about, well, did they play the perfect game? No, they didn't. They actually had double-digit turnovers, which was the first time in 27 games Wisconsin's had double-digit turnovers. But I think to your point, Jimmy, the adjective I'd use to describe this team that I've used throughout the course of the year, they're unflappable.
Yes.
And we saw that here, particularly in those moments where Kentucky pulled ahead and it felt like Wisconsin had tired. Suddenly, Dekker was a huge part of it, but they were able to pull it together on the biggest stage possible. It's really impressive.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that's a year's worth of get back. That's some revenge right there. You know, they've been thinking about this, and they want to win a national championship, but they figured that Kentucky was on that path. And so, Jim, you growing up, and you might get in a fight, and you have to come back and get back on the court. You got some get back, and that's what Wisconsin got.
But think about where the pressure was at. Was the pressure on Wisconsin? No.
Great point.
It was all on Kentucky. And as the game and the minutes began to shrink, so did the opportunity for Kentucky to do something special. So you saw and you could feel the tension from the Kentucky side. We always talk about this Wisconsin team, why they're so loose. Well, you saw it at the end of the game. No pressure. So they were able to operate efficiently and get the job done because of their mindset and how they interact with each other day in and day out.
Now, their third ever win in school history against a number one team, third in 23 all-time games against number one. Tell you what, guys, they win one more here against Duke on Monday night, and Wisconsin will end the season as number one for the first time since 1941. Would be a remarkable ending to what has been a great run the last couple of years for the Badgers. Plenty more coverage as we continue here from Indianapolis, but for now, let's send it back to Mike in Chicago.